What's up, guys and gals? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, and as you can all tell from that title, we are talking some more Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega, chapter 194, chapter review entitled Sudden News. And before we even get underway with the actual chapter review, place your goddamn bets, ladies and gentlemen, because we have the King of Combat versus the Hell's Angel. Let's goddamn go. Okubo versus Seki. I mean, we just ended off the Berserker Bowl with kind of a pewter out. It wasn't exactly hype it up, and sort of the last chapter, so it was sort of like, it was like, okay. Like all the air, we were blowing up this hot air balloon of greatness, and then just as we were about to take off, it was deflate. It was time for deflation to happen. It sort of just trickled out, like, alright, Berserker Bowl's over, not much, because we didn't even get to see the fight between Rahito and Koga, doing Koga dirty. But now, jumping right off of that, it's like, boom, let's go see the legends go at it. Let's see Okubo versus Seki. And I got the Hell's Angel. I know a lot of people are going to pick the King of Combat, and though I think a lot of people underestimate Okubo and his actual skill because of sometimes bad matchups and not being able to showcase what he can really do against guys within his own tier or maybe guys above him, giving them a run for their money sort of idea. I think Okubo is sort of underrated. I think Seki sort of falls in there. I think Seki falls in even more underrated. I believe that Seki is about to showcase what he can do. He's there to teach Koga a lesson that he won't soon forget. But we're going to get into the rest of that after we get into the chapter, because of course the big matchup is the end of the chapter. But in the comment section, guys, regardless what else you want to talk about, let me know who you bet your money on. This guy's got the Hell's Angel, just no question. I love both these characters, but I think Seki's got something to prove. He's got something to prove, and we'll talk about it. But all right, the beginning part of this chapter, it's actually quite a very simple chapter. It's a little dialogue heavy, but I like that. It's very straightforward, though, in the way it delivers it. I was absolutely 110% right. If you have watched my review before, any of my reviews before in the last chapter review, or if you watched my discussion video about the new, what I've dubbed the rescue arc. This is, we're jumping into the Ryuki rescue arc, right? Alright, that kind of works. Except it's not rest and relaxation. That's for damn sure if we're going to the inside. And I knew when they were putting together that team, it seems so far to be Mikatsuchi, Himura, Oma, and that kind of stuff. I knew that Koga would absolutely want to be a part of it. And we're just hitting the ground running with that one. We see the 8th Fang of Mitsudo there, Misasa, talking, of course, with Katahara and Koga, saying, let me go to the inside too. I promise I won't get in the way. Let me help. So Koga is still got a little bit of humbleness to him. We actually remarked on that in the last chapter, that he is a bit humble. He knows that he's not top dog yet, not even losing that match. I don't think even if he had won the Berserker Bowl, he would have been like, I know how dangerous this mission is. I know that winning one tournament doesn't make me this, top tier shit. So it's absolutely well within his character here to be begging Katahara to say, hey, I really want to go. I want to be there to help out my friend. I need to go help rescue Ryuki and stuff like that. So we knew that was the case, and he Katahara didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. Now the 8th Fang, Misasa, basically said, yeah, no, you shouldn't go. Now he gives a bit of an odd reason, sort of like basically the whole, it's more the PTSD talk, sort of like when you join up with the military, if you're going to be stationed in your own country and never be deployed because of your skill set or something like that, then it's like, yeah, it's all sunshine and rainbows. But it's like, if you're going to join the military in the middle of a war or, a middle of a police action or anything like that, it's like, are you really prepared? Because you're going to see some shit and you're not going to come out the same. We're not exactly going on there for vacation, It's sort of like when people become cops or detectives or what have you, or what squad they join. They join the bomb squad, they join the detective squad, you know what I mean? There's a certain mental stability and a preparation that is required, and that's sort of what Misasa says. When I first read it, I was like, I'm more worried that Koga's going to get his shit kicked. The inside is no joke, and Koga might have gotten stronger and time skip and power-ups and all that stuff. but he's at best still a B-tier fighter at the best, and he'd be on the lower end of a B-tier fighter. He can't just waltz into the inside like it's nothing. So, but Masasa's actually giving him great advice about going in there. You're going to get changed. You're going to see some shit, and it's not something you just take lightly. So, and he knows that Koga's still kind of green when it comes to that shit. And we're going to talk about that because I think this is also the reason that Seki's going full tilt at the end of this chapter. We'll talk about that because I think this whole chapter is basically saying Koga, it's not about his fighting ability, though you can make that argument. They're more so worried about his mental preparation for going to the inside. So, anyways, Katahara basically doesn't say no, doesn't say yes, but says, why don't you think about it? Why don't you take some time and think it over? So Koga does. He doesn't get angry or anything like that. He leaves the mansion. He goes walking through the streets. He flags down a taxi and he asks himself, is he truly ready? Is he ready to go there and stuff? And the taxi driver ends up driving him to a place and says, hey, listen, you can't go. I can't go any further. You're going to have to take it from here, but are you sure you really want to go? And instantly you know that this man is going to the inside. Now, I was not concerned whatsoever. I don't know about other people. I just got off work, so I have no idea what people are saying. I'm going to be checking the Discords and Miss Content's review. Definitely go check that out. I'm going to be checking all that stuff afterwards in the Reddit and stuff like that. But fact of the matter is, I had no concern that Koga was actually just going to go, oh, they're not even going to let me go. I'm going to go straight there, because that's not the vibe that he was giving off. Katahara didn't say no. He said, are you, and Misasa didn't say no. He said, I wouldn't recommend it. Do you think you're really ready for this? And when he flagged down the taxi, he wasn't angry. He was melancholy. And he just went, He was deep in thought. And then he went, and he asked himself, am I really ready? So then he gets a taxi cab to take him to the border. I almost absolutely knew what was coming with this. And I reread this a few times. Basically, the taxi driver said, I used to live in these parts, but now this is abandoned. And it's sort of it looks like a bit of a bad part of town sort of idea, a little rundown, little ghetto, that kind of idea. But it's like, I grew up around here and everyone from the area knows that. And he keeps talking about it. Now, it is very easily described as, it's what he's talking about is the inside itself. It's sort of reminding people of, I don't know how else to describe it. Sort of reminds me a little bit, has anybody ever seen that movie, what was it, not District 9, the other one with the parkour guys. That wasn't District 9, that was that other weird one. But anyway, basically the isolated area sort of idea, right? The place that actually has some level of almost supernaturalness to it, and he talks of it as though the inside is a living, breathing organism that grows. It grows. It takes over. It's unstoppable. And we know this because we've had these type of monologues about the inside, this type of information given all about the history with Gamukaku trying his best to control the inside, to bring the inside all in one, and it wasn't happening. It was impossible. Reminds me also a little bit of Tokyo Ghoul with the different colonies and how that stuff worked, the different sections. You could go as far as True Blood with the areas. You could even go as far to say this is sort of similar to the gourmet world with its sections. Like there's wards, there's sections. I think the wards thing, that's what got me thinking Tokyo Ghoul. But it's this own little almost isolated area that it's not the people, it's not a specific person that holds that together. It's this thing, it's this area that you can't just go in there and clean up like it says thing. It's a wild jungle that's been almost unexplored sort of idea, like finding a new continent on the world sort of idea, right? So very, very, very dark, very deep, trying to really get it into Koga's head that this place is getting bigger. Every time they tear down the walls, it just grows even further. It's going to take over these outskirt parts too. And this is not just a piece of land. This is the inside. And I'm like, damn, all right, that was a damn good lead up. That was a damn good description to describe what the inside truly is. We've seen this in multiple pieces of fiction and media and manga before. And this is a definite good way to bring it up. You know, you sort of see walls that have been torn down, these big tall walls that are completely decimated, and the smoke and the fumes rising, and it's been torn down. Then you see a secondary wall sort of built, and it's like, okay, it's in a better shape, but it still looks like it's a little run down. Then you see the barbed wire fence, and then the radioactive warning, toxic gases, radiation, blah blah blah. Sort of reminded me of that 2014 Godzilla film with the contaminated area, sort of, it's this festering place. So all this leads up to the fact that Koga just wants to actually go there and look at the border, look at the inside, and be like, sort of, am I really ready for this? Like, questioning, he took Katahara Misasa's words, thinking, is Ryuki truly in there? Another thing he also thinks that nobody really brought up before, because this is clearly going to be a rescue arc, but Ryuki might just show up. They're all they waited as long as they could, and now they are concerned that maybe something happened and stuff like that, so they are mounting an operation. But it's entirely possible. It's not outside the realm. It's a low probability, but it's not outside the realm that Ryuki just took more time than he thought, and he might show up. We're going to launch this thing, and he shows up. Where did everybody go? I brought cupcakes. The inside's got the best cherry-flavored ones. I know it's a bit of a, do-or-die situation to get them, but something about that shop on 34th, the crossroads of death and carnage on the inside, they're cherry cupcakes. Damn, just can't get that flavor anywhere else. And he just had to wait a while for the order. Maybe it was something like that. So he does bring up the possibility that they might mount this whole thing. They might go in there, and it is a do or die. It's very dangerous. And Ryuki might be okay, and he might come out and be a really big, oh, really? Sort of situation. It'd be very ironic. So, but he just wanted to see and sort of mentally prepare himself by looking at the border, standing at that border. Reminding me of Toriko, once again, talking about the gourmet world when he stood on the precipice and he looked over and he goes, the gourmet world. Am I ready? Sort of idea. So, then he gets a call. Then the second part of the chapter is, of course, he gets the call from Haru. Haru basically says, hey, are you free tonight? We got this private event. We got this club match. They meet up with a couple of the girls. They meet up with Katahara's daughter there, and the one from Purgatory. I always forget her name. But him and Haru meet up with them, sort of idea. And it's Seki versus, once again, we got the Hell's Angel. We got Seki versus Okubo. Now, this is actually looking a little more like that last panel is giving me some old style vibes, like in the originally old fights. I've been going through a lot of the Reddit, people posting now. The big thing right now is people posting their favorite panels from Asura or Omega or whatever. And when you compare, a lot of people have been posting earlier like fight chapter panels and stuff like that. And I realized that is something that's keenly been missing. Like, the character models are looking very, very well. Like, everything looks really clean in Omega. But one of the good things that set apart the art from Kengan in the first place in Asura was this very sketchy, demonous, or demonic, I should say, not demonous, but demonic almost, this dangerous and darkness sort of almost evil presence to this artwork, this crazy vibe, this almost things are distorted feeling. And the last panel of this chapter definitely a showcase of some of that old school, and it's very appropriate because it's two legends from the original Annihilation Tournament in the first manga in Asura. So definitely liking that. So they're fighting over a piece of whatever, and there's an excuse for why it's Seki versus Okubo last minute, and it's like, how did nobody know about this? This is a fucking match. And they're like, this, that, and the other thing happened. So it's like, all right, whatever. And this is going to be a great matchup. Seki versus Okubo, I believe these two are on the same level. Like, that's why I said, place your damn bets. I'm going with the Hell's Angel. If you guys go with the King of Combat, I totally understand. I think this is a 50-50 shot. I don't think there is a clear winner in this. And Haru even says that he wouldn't fight the King of Combat. Once again, Haru is C tier fighter at best, maybe even a D tier fighter. If he ever slimmed down, or not even slimmed down, but got more like to Seki's physique sort of idea, I might place him higher later on. He's really got to get back to what he was, back at the beginning. But either way, Haru said he wouldn't, of course, fight. And it's like, well, of course he wouldn't fight him, man. You're Haru. Koga can't fight Okubo at this point, So it's like, of course you guys wouldn't fight him. But Seki certainly can. And so he said, I was told to bring you here no matter what, Koga. He's like, He's doing this fight for me? For me? I don't understand. And then we get Anna Paula as the referee. Take your stance, let's fight, and boom, Seki's starting off strong. He gets a huge fucking, whole arm throw. It's almost like he tried to clothesline him at the very beginning. Okubo manages to block it, but he's like, holy shit, and his fists are rattling. But then Seki just doesn't let up, grabs him by, I don't even know what he's grabbing him by. He's grabbing him by the skull because this man fucking can't even, he's got no hair to grab, but he basically hair pulls him, grabs him, and just goes, all right. And so he doesn't let up. He gets clothesliner, nope, block, nope, forget that, grabs his head, and slam right in the face. It seems to be unblocked. He seemed to get Okubo in that last panel, and as I said, it's old school Asura drawing, and it matches the two. It's like, holy shit, this is the type of art. This is what was missing from the Berserker Bull fights. These type of panels. I don't think we got a single panel, not even in Sawpang versus Cosmo, which it would have been appropriate. We did not get panels drawn like this. Nobody can convince me that this doesn't remind you of Cat. This reminds you of the Kengan Annihilation Tournament style of like Waka versus Julius type of panel, or Okubo versus Agito, or any of these panels that had these really good, or Gao-Lang, or any of these fights. This is the type of art. This is the sketchiness and the rawness of the panel. It's just, oh man, I'm getting so excited. I'm getting pumped up. Let's go. It's the Hell's Angel versus the King of Combat. It's like, so as I said, we pewtered out. It was like, like the Berserker Ball ended on a heavy sigh almost, and then we jump into the next panel, and we're getting the fight between legends against veterans. Let's fucking go. So I'm super pumped about this fight. I am just super excited, as you guys can fucking tell. Just before we end the review, though, the one thing, as I said, that I wanted to talk about was Koga's character. The reason Seki's doing this, and the reason I think Seki is going to win, because we started this off with the mental stability, the mental preparation you need, the PTSD, the soldier comparison, all that stuff, right, that I was talking about, like being on the bomb squad. It takes a certain type of person. Not everybody can do it. So the thing is that Misaso warned him about it, so he actually took the words to heart. He went to the board of the inside, he looked at it, he thought about it, he's like, am I really ready for this? And Seki is going to show him how brutal the king is, because here's the key thing that I think Seki's here to prove, and I think in the last panels we're seeing why. I don't think Okubo's going down no diff or anything like that, but the Kengan Association and the Kengan matches have been getting flowery, getting nice, almost, they're not really brutal anymore. And I think, once again, this panel is showcasing a lot. You got to read a lot between the lines, but Seki's about to showcase it. He knows Okubo can handle it. That's why he pinch hit last minute, because they even talk about how foolish that is with no preparation against a guy on Okubo's level. Even for a guy like Seki, it's like, you need to know who your matchup is. You can't just go in there with nothing. He's doing this to show Koga. Koga has been in the Kengan Association, sure, but after it's been revolutionized almost. It's gotten cleaner, it's gotten safer. This ain't the same Kengan Association that was in Asura. This isn't the same Kengan matches that were do or die, like from the movie Damage, where it was like, oh, I picked up a baseball bat, whack, I found whatever I could, it was a street ball, it's a fight, anything goes. This is not a friendly fight. This is like, okay, we're going to be friends after this and have a beer, and even if I punch you in the face a few too many times. This isn't a boxing match. This isn't an MMA match. This is a do or die. This is brutal. This is teeth knocked out, liver damage, guys who can't fight anymore. This is Kengan matches. And Seki is there to make sure Koga sees this and go, basically to prove to him a lesson. You haven't been a part of the original, how Kengan used to be, how the Kengan matches used to go. And this was a daily occurrence. And the inside is this 24/7, if not worse. He's trying to say, you're not ready for this. He's trying to show it in his own way. So we got Misaso's warning, and now, so he told him, and now Seki's going to show him. That's what I took away from this chapter. Now, maybe I'm reading a little too deep into that, but I think it all adds up. It all adds up. The entire chapter is about saying that Koga is not ready up here. Because his entire story has been when the Kengan Association got nicer, got better, got more rules, more strict, more restrictions, more regulations, a little safer for the fighters, great. But now they've lost their killer instincts, in a sense. And Koga was never a part of it to even gain killer instincts from the get-go. One thing Ryuki had on him was the fact that he came from the inside, and he had the knack to, you go for the kill. There's no hesitation. Koga is an MMA fighter at best. Koga is a karate fighter. He's an official. Koga could fight in official matches in the world. He could go into boxing or into MMA or something like that, right? Like, he hasn't had to have these brutal street fights surrounded by cars and, have to rip a guy's ear off or anything like that. He hasn't had to fight like they used to. And Seki's about to show him exactly what it's about. So, anyways, I could rant about this all day and really get deeper and deeper into the psychology of the whole bit. But I think this whole chapter is fantastic on a lot of levels. It's fantastic on the surface level. It's fantastic on a deeper meaning level for Koga as a character. It's great hype because we get to see Okubo versus Seki. I don't think anybody's not excited about that. It was just a straightforward, great fucking chapter. I have zero flaws. There's zero fat on this chapter. There's plenty to sink our teeth into. As you can tell, this review is going to be half an hour by the time I'm done, but there's plenty to sink our teeth into if we want to talk about it. There's plenty to just enjoy from a surface level. We get Okubo versus Seki. You can just talk about, yeah, there's a pump up meathead, let's go, fight, fight, fight. You can just say it's a good chapter for that. You can go deeper. It's got everything I wanted from chapter. And that old school Asura type of manga panel at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, there's plenty of seasoning on this chapter. We are eating good. This is just some greatness. So I'm really happy with chapter 194. Probably one of my most enjoyable Omega chapters I've had. This is probably, I can't think of a chapter I've enjoyed this much in a while. So, it's definitely one of the better chapters of Omega for a long time. I would make that argument. 10 out of 10 chapters, zero fat, no issues with it, perfect length, perfect storytelling, perfect everything. I got no problem with this chapter. What do you guys think, though? Once again, who are you betting on, the King of Combat or the Hell's Angel? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And we will see you, fans of Kengan Omega, back here next time for chapter 195. Hopefully we get to see the whole fight. I told you guys I was hoping that if we're going to skip Rahito's obvious victory over Koga, we got to get something great out of it. And I think chapter 194 did not fucking disappoint. So let's go. Let's see what happens next. And that's it from me, guys. Have a good one. Sayonara.